Hello everybody, Connor here, and welcome back to another episode of Gaming Retrospective. Throughout the different console generations, many games have come and gone. Most new releases eventually get replaced by the next best thing, whether that be a new entry in the series or the game just gets forgotten with time. But every once in a while, a game just refuses to die. It could be because developers keep milking them for all they're worth, fans refuse to let them go, or there's just straight up nothing else to replace them. Sometimes it's a game that keeps getting updates long past when anyone expected. Other times, the modding community pries it from the cold dead hands of the developers and keeps it alive on pure willpower. Or in some cases, the game gets re-released so many times that it's become a running joke at this point. Like, I get it, GTA 5 is great, but I don't need to play it on my 3DS. And the craziest part is that some of these games are still pulling in millions of players, outselling brand new releases, and getting more updates than games that launched last year. These are games that should have faded away into history, but instead, they're still going strong after all of these years, and at this point, I have a feeling some of these games are going to outlive me. Most times when a new console is announced, I'm already preparing to see.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather. Or the...
Come on! Grand Theft Auto 5 was released in September 2013, right at the end of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation. It was developed by Rockstar North and is the 7th main entry in the GTA series. Just like the previous entries, it's an open-world action-adventure game that takes place in a fictional city that's loosely based on a real-life location. It's centered around completing various missions and heists. Outside of the missions, you're free to roam the city. The game takes place in the city of Los Santos and Blaine County. This entry in the series was the most marketed and anticipated before it was released, and once it did, it became the fastest selling entertainment product, earning 800 million big ones in its first day alone. A month after its initial release, Rockstar released Grand Theft Auto Online, a separate mode that can be played with up to 30 players. Like the single-player story mode, GTA Online is open world and takes place inside the same map as the campaign. Players create their own customizable character and can take part in missions with other players to earn money that can be used to purchase cars, apartments, businesses, and other cosmetics. It was obvious that GTA 5 was a massive success at launch, and it was an absolute no-brainer that Rockstar would bring the game over to the next generation consoles. Around a year after the initial release, GTA 5 was released for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in 2014. GTA Online would continue to receive regular updates and continued to stay popular throughout the generation. When it came time for Sony and Microsoft to release the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles, it was announced that GTA 5 would be making its way to those consoles too, with no new GTA entry in sight. I mean, come on, the PlayStation 2 had 3 GTA games, and now we have 3 generations of PlayStation consoles with GTA 5. People were starting to agree that GTA 5 was overstaying its welcome, and were hoping a new entry in the series would be coming soon. In 2022, Rockstar announced that development for the next entry is well underway, and in late 2023, a trailer for GTA 6 was released, setting the release window as 2025, 12 years after the release of GTA 5. This game lasted a whole decade until the next entry was announced. Rockstar was able to keep milking the life out of GTA 5 and GTA Online. I bought the game 3 times. And if you think Rockstar is bad for milking GTA 5, you should see what Bethesda is doing to Skyrim. This game gets a new edition every other week. Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim VR, Skyrim for Switch, you name it. I wouldn't be surprised if they ran out of new consoles to port the game to and just started remaking the game for older consoles at this point. But here's the thing, people are still buying them. Skyrim is the 5th entry in the Elder Scrolls series. It was released in 2011 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. It's an open-world fantasy RPG where you roam over the land of Skyrim, which contains wilderness expanses, dungeons, caves, cities, towns, fortresses, and villages. Skyrim received high praise when it was first released. It took what the previous Elder Scrolls games did and improved on it in many ways. It removed the character class system, which allowed players to play the game without worrying about committing to a class. 5 years after the original release, Bethesda announced Skyrim Special Edition, which remastered the game for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. For the 10th anniversary, a new edition titled Anniversary Edition was released in 2021 for Windows, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, the Xbox Series consoles, and PC. This version of the game was also ported to the Nintendo Switch a year later. Aside from mainline releases, a VR version of Skyrim was released in 2018. Despite the game receiving a comical amount of re-releases, the community also keeps Skyrim alive through fan-created mods on the PC version of the game. The mods consist of minor improvements to the gameplay, enhanced visuals, different mechanics, characters, locations, and more. This helps keep the game fresh for players while they wait for the next entry in the series. In 2018, Bethesda announced that The Elder Scrolls VI was in pre-production, but there's still no word on when the next entry will be coming, leaving fans with the same game they've had since the Xbox 360 days, with no plans to fizzle out. And yet, despite Skyrim's endless re-releases, at least Bethesda occasionally pretends they're working on a sequel. Nintendo, on the other hand, they just took one look at Mario Kart 8 and said, yeah, it's good enough. Mario Kart 8 was released in 2014, towards the beginning of the Wii U's lifespan. Despite the Wii U being a massive commercial failure, Mario Kart 8 was a standout success, becoming the fastest-selling Wii U game. It also became the best-selling Wii U game, with more than half of Wii U owners owning a copy. Mario Kart 8 is debatably the best entry in the series. It enhanced features from previous entries, like motorcycles from Wii, as well as the hang gliders from 7. The new gimmick for Mario Kart 8 is anti-gravity, which allows for players to drive on walls and go upside down in certain parts of the courses. It also featured online multiplayer like Mario Kart Wii, and for the first time in the series, brought in DLC containing additional courses and 200cc racing. When it came time for Nintendo to announce their next console, the Nintendo Switch, they released a 3-minute trailer showing off the new console. It showed a new Zelda game, a new 3D Mario game, and holy shit, Mario Kart 8! Instead of making a new entry, Nintendo decided to re-release Mario Kart 8 on the Switch as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And honestly, I get it. The original game sold well despite being on a struggling console, so why not bring it to a system that was actually successful? It's something Nintendo did with a lot of Wii U games, but out of all the ports, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was by far the biggest hit. Released in 2017, Deluxe included all of the DLC from the Wii U version, revamped the battle mode, and cemented itself as the definitive Mario Kart experience. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was extremely successful, selling over 9 million copies in the first year alone. It eventually became one of the best-selling games on the Nintendo Switch, and even one of the best-selling games of all time. Then, in 2022, Nintendo announced even more DLC, the Booster Course Pass, adding 48 tracks across 6 waves, essentially an entire game's worth of content. Later waves even added fan-favorite characters like Petey Piranha, Wiggler, Kamek, Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Pauline, and Peachette. At this point, they could have just made a new Mario Kart, but nope. Instead, they added on to the same game we've had for over a decade now. When it came time for Nintendo to announce the successor to the Nintendo Switch, they showcased an all-new Mario Kart game. It only took them over a decade, but we're finally getting a new entry in the series. Sometimes it doesn't even matter if a new entry's out. If fans really love that game specifically, they can keep the game alive for much longer than the developers anticipate. And no game proves that more than Super Smash Bros. Melee. It was released shortly after the launch of the GameCube in 2001 and became an instant hit. It became the best-selling game for the console, but what really kept the game alive was the competitive scene. Unlike the previous entry on the N64, Melee was a lot faster. The movement was more fluid, combos were insanely tactical, and players eventually found advanced techniques like wave dashing and L canceling that made the game much more advanced. I would consider myself more casual, so I haven't gotten into the advanced movement yet, but let me try wave dashing just to see what it's like. By the time the next entry in the series was released, Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii, Nintendo had found ways to slow the game down compared to Melee and did everything to prevent more advanced techniques from exploiting the game. Did that stop the fans? Nope. Even when new entries were released, Melee never seemed to die out. In fact, the competitive scene only grew thanks to tournaments. Melee was the Smash game to play competitive with. People modded their consoles to keep playing online, and they even developed Slippy, a version of Melee that allows players to compete online with modern lag-free connections, which is something Nintendo still struggles with to this day. Even with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate releasing and being the most content-rich and balanced game in the series, fans still refuse to put Melee down. This game is old enough to drink, and it still continues to have a dedicated player base, tournaments, and has a level of speed and precision that no other game in the series has quite replicated, and no matter how many new Smash games come out, there will always be players refusing to move on. Kinda like how people still refuse to let Team Fortress 2 die. Team Fortress 2 is a game that somehow managed to outlive its own updates, its developers' attention, and even common sense. TF2 was developed by Valve and was released in 2007 as part of the Orange Box, or separately on Steam if you hate Half-Life 2 and Portal. It was considered the blueprint for the now popular hero shooter genre of video games like Overwatch, Valorant, and Marvel Rivals. In most game modes, players are split up into two teams, red or blue, and compete for an objective. Team Fortress 2 had received a high praise for its iconic art style, voice lines, and fast-paced gameplay, and developed a loyal community that kept it alive for years. And I do mean years. At first, Valve was very supportive of the game. TF2 received constant updates, weapons, maps, and cosmetics, but after a while, Valve stopped caring. Major updates were less common, bots became a problem, and players were fishing for any sign that Valve still cared about the game. And despite all of this, TF2 still refuses to die. The community has done everything possible to keep it alive, fan-made updates, custom servers, and even tournaments. Valve will occasionally throw in a quick patch, kind of like when you forget your friend's birthday and you just give him your half-used Applebee's punch card. And yet, Team Fortress 2 still thrives. Thousands of people play it every single day. Modders continue to breathe life into it, and despite being over 17 years old, it remains one of Steam's most played games. But if we're talking about games that have truly stood the test of time on Steam, it's not hard to mention Counter-Strike Global Offensive, a game that not only refuses to die, but continues to evolve and dominate in the world of competitive gaming. CSGO was released in 2012 and was already a refinement of the classic Counter-Strike series, which had already made its place in the competitive gaming scene for over a decade. Counter-Strike Global Offensive was developed by Valve and Hidden Path Entertainment and is a first-person shooter. It originally retailed for 15 big ones, but eventually went free-to-play, shifting its revenue model to focus on cosmetics. Because why charge someone for a game once when you could charge them 50 times every time they buy a skin? As much as I on this model, selling cosmetic items has been a huge success, and the Steam market has turned skins into a whole economy in itself. Players can buy, sell, and trade weapon skins, stickers, and other cosmetic items, all while keeping the game itself free for anybody to pick up. This approach has kept the game accessible while also creating a new revenue stream that has been sustainable for years. And with the continuous updates, both in terms of game mechanics and content, CSGO has stayed fresh, especially with the competitive community. Eventually, CSGO was set to receive a major update in 2023 and was rebranded to Counter-Strike 2, but it's technically the same game. It's clear that Counter-Strike isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And if there's one game that absolutely refuses to go away, it's Minecraft. Minecraft was released in 2011 and was published by Mojang. It started out as a simple sandbox game with simple world generation, but it became a massive hit, and Minecraft kept receiving regular updates from Mojang to improve the game. Updates would consistently add features like new tools, mobs, and blocks. It just kept building upon itself and has become a completely different game from when it initially released. Aside from updating Minecraft, Mojang has also focused on releasing it for pretty much anything that can run it. Minecraft was originally released on PC, but it soon received ports to mobile, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, 3DS, PS Vita, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series consoles. There's even a version of Minecraft for the Apple TV. Because of the game being so accessible, it has become one of the best-selling games of all time with no signs of slowing down. Whenever the game starts to fade out of popularity, a new update releases and it ropes everyone back in. The sandbox gameplay mixed with all of the content added into the game throughout the years makes the game super replayable, and online multiplayer with friends adds a whole nother experience to the game. It's a game that offers something to everyone, whether it's survival, creative, defeating bosses, or playing hardcore. There are a million different ways to play this game. And if you get tired of the core gameplay, fans have created thousands, and I mean thousands of mods and custom maps. The success of this game has led to spin-off games like Minecraft Dungeons, Minecraft Story Mode, and even the mobile game Minecraft Earth. It's even getting its own movie in theaters. It's a perfect example of a game that just doesn't age, it only gets better with time. Even after almost 15 years, it's still one of the most popular games to play. It's like the perfect formula to keep a game alive. It's a game that keeps getting updates. The modding community supports the game by adding new content so the game never gets old, and it's available on pretty much anything. It's crazy to think about how so many console generations have come and gone, and these games have still managed to remain relevant after decades. Sometimes it's because it keeps getting pushed to new consoles, or fans refuse to let the game go, or it's never replaced with a similar experience. And throughout it all, these games are still pulling in millions of players, outselling brand new releases, and still getting support from their developers. These are games that should have faded away into history, but instead they're still going strong after all of these years and have become classics and mainstays in the gaming industry. Which is okay. It's nice getting a new console and having a familiar game to play. I just don't know if I can mentally handle buying GTA for a fourth time though.